Hello all, welcome to another quick learning. Today we're going back to CodeSignal. We'll work on the Python coding exercises. If you're joining this in the middle of the playlist, I'll put a link in the description below so you can start from the first video if you wish. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to the arcade here. And we're going back to Python. And then we're down in this new section, yin and yang of yields, number 65, calc bonuses. So we have to implement the missing code here where the ellipsis is. Ellipsis is just 3 periods. You're working on a revolutionary video game, and in this game the player will be able to collect several types of bonuses on each level, and his total score for the level is equal to the sum of the first n bonuses he collected. Excuse me. However, if he collects less than n bonuses, his score will be equal to 0. Given the bonuses the player got, your task is to return his final score for the level. So if n equals 3, you're going to take these first 3 bonuses in the list and sum them up. So you get 10. 4 plus 2 plus 4 gives you 10. Now with that same list, if n was equal to 5, since there's only 4 bonuses, you would get a score of 0 because they didn't get enough bonuses. All right, so how do we implement that in code? So they've already written most of the code for us. We just have to finish this one line here. So we're trying to figure out what we should specify for IT. So you can see IT is used here. So it's used with a next function. So you got to figure out what can be used with next. And if we look after that or before that, you can see it's wrapped around this for statement. So we're iterating over each element in whatever this is. So we're iterating over each of these elements, and we're using a next function. So the function that we're looking for is iter, so it stands for iterator. And then you feed into that bonuses, which is the list. So iterator makes it so you can iterate over items one at a time. And then we're going to initialize res to equal 0. Res is just going to be the result that we return at the end. So here we're going to do a try block. So a try means if there's some sort of error, then it will go to the exception and run the exception code. In this case, if there's an exception of stop iteration, then it will run this exception code. Any other exception, it'll just pop up an error. All right, so we're trying that. And then we're doing this for. So for, in Python, you use an underscore when you don't care about the variable that you're creating. So in this case, we don't care about this variable that we're going to iterate through. We just care that we're going to do it n times. So this range object is going to make it so we've got n times that we're going to iterate. So basically this range object, I'll show you what that's going to do. So if n equals, let's say 3, then what this range object is going to create is going to create a list of one list like that. It's going to start with 0, and it's going to have items up to this n minus 1. So it's not going to include the last item there. You could also specify that you wanted to start with 1 or any number that you wanted. So in this res, we're going to add each element, and we're going to add the elements up to n numbers. So for instance, it's going to first add 4, then it's going to add 2, and then it's going to add 4, and then it's going to stop because n is only equal to 3, so it's going to do 0, 1, and 2 index of this list. Okay. And then if for some reason we get past the end of this list, then there's going to be a stop iteration error, and it's going to go to this exception, and it's going to give you a result equals 0. So in the case of n equals 5, it's going to add 4, and then it's going to add 2 to that to give you 6. Then it's going to add 4 to that to give you 10, and then it's going to add 5 to give you 15, and then it's going to go, oh, there's no additional element in this list. That's an error. So then it's going to go to the exception here and give you a result 0. Then we're just going to return that res as the result. So if we go ahead and run that, we'll see that that gives us the correct answer. So let's just go through another example. So we did those 2 examples. So let's see example 4 here. So n equals 4. Since there's 4 elements in the list, what it would do is first it would give res equal to 5, and then res will plus 3 to come to 8, and then 8 plus 1 to 9, and 9 plus 9 equals 18. So it would give you an output of 18. All right, so hopefully you guys are able to follow along with that and you understand it, and you'll join me for future videos. Thank you very much.